Meeting of the City of San Angelo Development Corporation to be held on August 28, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. at the East Mezzanine of City Hall, 72 West College Avenue, San Angelo, Texas, for the purpose of considering the following agenda items. Number 1, call to order. Meeting is hereby called to order. Number 2, prayer. I'll invite Director Mantu to lead the invocation.
Will you bow with me, please? Father God, we come to you today inviting you and your spirit into this place. Guide our conversations and our decisions so that they are decisions and conversations you would be proud of. We pray all these things in your most holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Rick. And number 3, public comment. Issues or items that are not on the agenda may be raised by the public at this time. Citizens should speak from the podium, begin by stating their name, and limit their remarks to less than 3 minutes. Board members may request that a discussed item be placed on a future agenda. The board takes public comment on all regular agenda items during the discussion of those items. Do we have any public comment this morning? Hearing none, we'll move to item number 4, the consent agenda. Item A, consider approving the regular meeting minutes from July 24, 2024. Item B, consider approving the necessary corporation disbursement. Item C, consider approving the July 2024 financial. Item D, consider authorizing the board president to sign a letter of support for the City of San Angelo 2024 Safe Streets and Roads for All supplemental plant granting application to be submitted by the City of San Angelo Operations Department. We don't take any public comment here, do we, Brandon?
You can, yes.
Any public comment on any of these items? Okay, entertain a motion by the board to approve these 4 items on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Director Rodriguez, seconded by Director Mahaffey. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Turn now to item 5, regular agenda. 5A, consider approving an administrative services agreement by and between the City of San Angelo Development Corporation and the City of San Angelo for the provision of staff services and authorizing the board president or their designee to negotiate and execute all related documents. Presentation by Michael Dane, Interim Director of Economic Development. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning. The corporation accomplishes the administrative functions through this agreement with the city. The city provides employees and other services from other departments as necessary. This contract is expiring at the end of September, and we need to propose a new one for council's consideration as we move forward. In some respects, we're limited. There we have an ordinance which mandates that we work with the city for these services, but the amount of service we receive and which types of services we receive is largely has to do with what we've got going at the time. If we don't need to buy anything, then our burden for purchasing support becomes very low. That's an example. And so we want a contract which reflects those things, that we recognize there's a requirement to do business with the city, but we want the flexibility that goes with a varying level or varying types of needs. I think the city will be receptive to that idea. It's a little less rigid than the mindset we had in the old contract. We think that allows us to shape the needs and the city's response to our needs according to what they are. And so this contract, in summary, is cleaner and leaner. We did add a requirement. The old contract had specific numbers in it. We took that out. The way it actually functions is the city has a contractor perform a cost allocation plan, and we use that as the basis for what is charged to the corporation. We added some language in there that requires city personnel, that our treasurer, the city's finance director, to present that to the board so that we can have a discussion when it's when it's prepared and have an idea what we're going to be using as we move into the budget process. That'll give the board an opportunity to say, why are we using that department in the city? What drives that? And on the other hand, to say, why don't we use this element of the city? That requirement to have that presentation to the board and force that discussion did not exist in the old agreement. And so that's really the key. Other than a cleaner, leaner contract, the key change is staff is required to present that cost allocation plan to the board each time it's performed. And so from an action standpoint, we would approve something here. Note that we're authorizing Dr. Jones to negotiate and execute. We will take this as a proposal to the city council. I anticipate that they would, from their perspective, this is largely the same. And I expect they would receive this without a problem. But we do leave a little bit of latitude on the table for Dr. Jones if we need to make minor changes. If it's a substantive change, his level of comfort and legal's level of comfort would drive the need to come back to you to reconsider if council asks for something dramatically different. That's a little vague, but it is in substance what we believe this agenda item to be. And so our recommendation is for you to approve this authorization for Dr. Jones to negotiate and execute. Oh, I'm sorry. This comes from the subcommittee. We convened a subcommittee to consider these issues and had a couple of meetings that included Brandon. And so it comes to you from the subcommittee with a recommendation for approval.
So no need for a motion, but can I ask a question? Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Are there any new restraints on us as a board that are in the new agreement?
No, I don't think so. And I don't think there's specifically any loosening of requirements, but I think it more reflects our perception that we should be able to. The reality is, if Bob needs to know what Shane Kelton is thinking about utilities in a certain part of town, he can pick up the phone and call him. Mm-hmm. And if we want to partner with the city on development of utilities at a certain location, we pick up the phone and we have a meeting, we talk about those things. We think the contract should reflect that. We want all the best that comes with having the city resources available, with an honest recognition that we'll have to pay for that at some point. If it's a onesie-twosie kind of a thing, city staff's not going to worry about it. But if it gets into a pattern where the city is bearing a burden, they will expect to be paid for that, and we should expect to have to pay for that. Mm-hmm. But the flexibility, I think, is where the strength is. And so it comes to you as a recommendation for approval from the subcommittee.
Brandon, can you speak to the ordinance explaining why we have this agreement?
Yeah. So the city ordinance that, I'll just pull it up here, each board has an ordinance that pertains to that board. And for the Development Corporation, it has one requiring that it get administrative services from the city. Now, in the statute, that's not a specific requirement for administrative services, but there is oversight by City Council to approve all programs and expenditures. So through that authority under the statute, that's how the ordinance is enacted.
Perfect.
Things I didn't think, Steve, you were on the subcommittee, but Ryan worked up for us a spreadsheet showing the history of the amount of that. And his spreadsheet goes back to 2016. The amount in that year was $106,000. It grew steadily until it hit a maximum in 2022 of $320,000. This is outside of the staff members that provide you direct service. And has steadily decreased since then to a projected amount for next year of 211. And so that is approximately where we were in 2019.
So these are the indirect costs allocated to the corporation based on the city study.
Yes, sir. And actually, we can get you a copy of this if you'd like. So that cost has come down. A little bit of that is reflective of fewer projects happening and a work style where we try to get right to the point and not spend a lot of time hashing and rehashing the process with city staff.
Okay, Brandon, given that it comes as a recommendation from a subcommittee, do we need to make a formal motion or second?
Yes, sir.
Okay, entertain a motion from the board to approve this administrative services agreement.
So moved.
Moved by Director Mantooth. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Rodriguez. We open it up for public comment. Any public comment on this matter? Okay, seeing none, we'll call for the question. All those in favor of approving this agreement, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Michael. And we'll skip over the missing item 5B, and we'll jump to item 5C on our agenda. Public hearing regarding an economic development incentive agreement with Allen's Transport USA, Inc., in an amount not to exceed $150,000, a project authorized under Chapters 501 and 505 of the Texas Development Corporation Act, necessary to promote economic development and expand business enterprises which create or retain primary jobs, and recommending approval by City Council. Presentation will be made by Bob Sneeman, Economic Development Project Manager. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. Thank you. This is a public hearing on a project approved by the board. It's required by Section 505.159 of the Economic Development Act. It requires a public hearing to be undertaken, except as provided with under some subsections, that the corporation shall hold at least one public hearing on a proposed project before spending money to undertake the project. This project was actually approved back in, I believe, April, and we just hadn't gotten to the public hearing, so here we are. Allen's Transport currently has 5 employees at their facility located on Gas Plant Road. They intend to invest about another $1.5 million in new equipment. Involves some chemical tanks and some additional trucks, and they have some very nice trucks. They buy brand new Peterbilts, so they're very nice. They're going to create 5 new driver positions, and their average pay for a driver is $95,000 a year, so they are good jobs. We are proposing a $125,000 capital investment grant. Would be they would earn that by making the capital investment, and then $25,000 in total jobs creation. That would be $5,000 per job. Slide's wrong on that one. So the total proposed project incentive is $150,000. The return on investment on this project is about 5.9 years. Total 5-year community economic impact is about $6.58 million. And the board, as I say, the board did approve this project at the April 24th meeting. There's a couple of pictures of some brand new trucks that they'll be buying some more like this. And these are the pictures of the tanks that they're installing as a result of this project. At this time, I'll answer any questions, or we can open it up for public comment, public hearing.
Any question from the board? Okay, open it up for public comment on this item. Is there any public comment? Okay, hearing none. That ends this item, correct, Brandon? There's no need to vote or anything, okay. All right, Bob, so we'll move to item 5D, update regarding the 2024 San Angelo Business Plan Competition. Presentation will be made by Nora Navarez, Economic Development Coordinator. Good morning, Nora.
Good morning, Board. At last month's meeting, you had requested that I provide an update about the competition, so I'm happy to say that for our viewers out there, I'm just going to recap this. We did the kickoff on June 3rd. Phase 1, it was the business overview and the entry form, and that was due on August 1st. So I'm happy to say we received 44 entries. Now, when we started the competition, that was 2016. So this is the biggest number that we've received in entries. So I'm happy to say that what we've been working hard at, myself and Ms. Desiree Johnson and her team, we've done good. Right now, we are in the next phase, which is phase 2. They are working diligently, and that would be 6 contestants that were selected out of those 44 that are working with SBDC and working on their draft business plan. We plan to announce the winner in November, but our next item that we'll be discussing, we're going to talk a little bit about hopefully maybe rescheduling that meeting maybe sooner. As I stated on our marketing part, this is all of the marketing that we did. It's either myself or Miss Desiree. I did the San Angelo live interviews. We together, Desiree and I, did the Concho Valley homepage. We had several LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Got up pretty early for KLST Coffee Talk. And then we did have 2 business plan forums that we were hosted by Fuentes Cafe Downtown and Nachos. And Nachos was so excited that we asked him to do this and actually told us, come back again. I want y'all to do this here in my restaurant. So happy to have that there. Desiree and I also spoke for the next San Angelo Business Plan winner. That went really good. I am happy to say that those that entered were actually there at the meeting, so they could ask us personally or ask with amongst everyone else questions that they felt they needed to have some clarity on. Media Advantage also did 2 mail-outs, and video. I want to also say is thank you to Media Advantage because they have really been pushing this, and I think they've also not only kicking up the amount for the business plan, but their marketing efforts that they've done for us, I say also helped us increase that amount. So that is it. If you have any other questions for me.
Questions for Nora about the business plan competition?
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, move to agenda item 5E, consider rescheduling the approved future COSADC meetings for November and December 2024. Presentation made by Nora Navarez.
Hey, last year when we did our 2024 meeting scheduled, we actually had stated that November's meeting would be the 20th and December would be the 11th. And because of that, normally our meetings are held the 4th Wednesday, but we're changing them because of the holidays. So I'm proposing for our meeting in November to be bumped up to November 13th. And one reason is because by November 8th, we will know who the winners are for the business plan competition. So I kind of hate to have those winners wait that long. I think they're pretty eager to know, did I win or not? And then also December's meeting. Are you good with December 11th, or should we push it back the 17th? Up to you all as to how your schedule is, but if these dates work for you, November 13th, and maybe still keep it on the 11th or change it in December, you let me know.
Any perspective from any
I
of
have
the
no
directors?
preference.
Okay?
I'm good. Either one.
I'd like to suggest the 11th because it keeps us further out from the Christmas
Yes.
holiday, and would assume there's going to be very little business done the
I
week
hope so.
prior to Christmas anyway, so I'd
Okay.
suggest the 11th for December.
Okay.
And I think moving the November meeting up a week to have it closer to the outcome of the business plan competition is probably a good idea
Yes,
as well.
they would appreciate that.
So do
Okay.
you need a motion from us or just?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay. Entertain a motion from the board to,
I move that we currently move our current meetings from November 20th to November 13th, and December 11th remain at
Remain.
December 11th.
Okay.
okay, motion made by Director Rodriguez, seconded by Director Mahaffey. Do we need any public comment on that?
Yes. Being
Any
that there's a
public comment
motion.
on that change in our meetings? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Nora.
Great, thank you.
Last item in the regular agenda is an update presentation by the San Angelo Chamber of Commerce Economic Development staff regarding current and future projects. This presentation will be made by Michael Looney, Vice President of Marketing and Recruitment at the Chamber. Good morning, Michael.
Okay, good morning, Dr. Jones. Good morning, COSA-DC Board. I'm going to flip through some slides here to give you some idea of the projects that we are currently working on, projects that we have completed. First off is the project that we engaged with June 23rd of last year. This is WTX-9 as identified by Amazon. It's a rural, super rural facility. It is the fifth of 5 so far built in the country. The first 4 were rented buildings in 4 cities in the United States. This is the first ground-up, brand-new facility. This was the pour, where they used a boom. It took 1 night to pour. It's a 35,000 square foot slab. There's the finished product. There's slab in place. Those are poured in place tilt wall. If you have any questions, please stop me. This was a couple of weeks ago. Bob and Nora and I went out to look at the process of putting up the tilt walls. And this is about 2 weeks later. They have the tilt walls in place, coatings on the walls. Catamount Contractors out of San Antonio is building it. Their target date is mid-November for completion. And that is what the interior looks like at this time. This is about a week ago. H&E Equipment, this is a company that we actually started working with 2 years ago. This is a company that's based out of Louisiana, Baton Rouge. They have 120 locations throughout the United States. This project was done very briskly. We introduced them to the Arden Road property. This is the former U.S. Well Services building. They purchased it in pretty quick record time, aware of the fact that there are other similar companies in the region. In fact, there's 5 in San Angelo. They said that is not a problem at all. They do have some NAICS codes that could have qualified for assistance. They said, we're not going to bother with that. That's not why we're here. We're here to rent equipment and service it. That's an image of the building. It's an 18,000 square foot building. It's in very, very good condition. U.S. Well Services left it in great condition, and H&E is now the owner. This is Talk of Texas. This is a BRE program. This is a company that Bob and Mike, Barry and I have had a lot of interactions with over the past couple of years. This is a food packing plant. It's been in San Angelo since 1959. This is an image of Councilman Hebert, Director Dane, and Bob Schneeman out at the plant. We were out there getting a tour from Russell Brown, who is the owner of the company, explaining exactly how the only hand-packed pickled okra company in the world functions. They do a very robust business. I don't remember exactly what the percentage was, but it was something on the order of half of their orders go to Walmart Corporation for distribution nationally and some even globally. Santa Juanita SNF, this is a project that we started working on in 2016. although not an industrial project, this is one that was required there were no assistance requests, but just the services provided by the chamber to help navigate through the different development processes. This is a 49,000 square foot skilled nursing facility. It's not a retirement home, it's a skilled nursing facility. What we really like about this is that it's a $22 million investment. It's going to hire 90 new jobs. The company, which is RW Senior Care out of Jackson, Tennessee, has already started their program with Howard College, and they have a LVN to RN program, and so they do a share program with them for tuition. So once it's built, it's going to be 90 new jobs. It's going to have about 118 beds. And the intention of this is to just further augment the services that San Angelo has at its disposal that takes some pressure off of Shannon. In fact, when we were working with them in the early days, we had to get letters from either 30 citizens or from the city council and the county judge stating that they recognize a need. They couldn't lobby for the company, but they recognized that there was a need, which our research and their hired consultants' research corroborated, that there is a need for skilled nursing facilities. Just out of good manners and courtesy and professionalism, we brought this to the attention of, at the time, community and Shannon. So much so that Shane Plymell, at his own volition, wrote a letter to Disability Services in Austin, which is now Health and Human Services, enthusiastically supporting the development of the San Juanita SNF. It is a service that over the many years Shannon has provided, but they said that at the time they were at full capacity. This is a project that's out in the county, so related to San Angelo, and that this is another one of our projects. This is not labeled, but this is Apex Angelo Solar. It's a 348 megawatt solar power plant. The biggest solar power plants you'd find in the country would be on the order of 700 megawatts. So this is about half of that. Most of them are around 200 megawatts. This is a project that we started working on 6 years ago. It's a county service project in the sense that the county and the school district will derive tax yields from the project, $340 million project. But what we like about it is that it introduced our community to the concept and application of battery energy storage systems, of which we now have 4 projects looking at city land. So we're bringing this type of industry sector into the city limits, and we suspected that that could be a natural progression, and in fact, it's worked. Apex did open a permanent, it's about a 1,500 square foot, 6-person office on Loop 306 South. So they do have a permanent regional office here for further development. And the relationship with Apex in particular has led to 2 other projects that you will see in the near future related to the renewable sector that directly positively impact the city. So we're talking within city limits developments. I wanted to show you this slide. This gives you an idea of the sheer magnitude of that solar power project. To your left, you can see the perimeter of the city limits, and up and to the right hand, you can see the perimeter of the solar power project. The little white square in the bottom left of the perimeter is a AEP substation, which is obviously attractive for transmitting gathered power into use for the grid to distribute it out into the state grid system. So this doesn't show the Korea Midland Power Company plant, which is further south, just south of the city limits, but that gives you an idea of the size of it. Technology Tower, this is a BRE project that we've all worked on. This is some imagery of what the inside of it looks like now. They've scraped it clean. They've removed all the interior lighting. They've got new lighting coming. They've pulled out all the old HVAC. It's moving along very briskly now, and everything appears to be positive and a go from VGI and Snyder. So that's it.
All right, great. Any questions for Michael? Okay, thank you so
All
much,
right, thank
Michael.
you.
Appreciate your presentation. Now, item number 6, board is going to move into a closed session. This is an executive session under the provision of Government Code Title V, Open Government, Ethics, Subtitle A, Open Government, Chapter 551, Open Meetings, Subchapter D, exceptions to requirement that meetings be open under the following sections. I read through these, then we release people. Is that it? Okay. Item A in the closed session, Section 551.087, business prospect negotiations regarding aircraft mechanical school. B, Section 551.072, deliberations about real property regarding the sale of 8.2 acres more or less of land at the industrial park. Excuse me. Item C, Section 551.087, business prospect negotiations regarding Project Excelsior. Okay, board will now go into closed section. waiting on Michael.
Yep. Gotta get us back on TV. Oh, thank you.
Did they go to Donatopia or something, thinking we'd be longer? Yeah, these government employees, they just, I know a little about government employees.
Yeah, you do.
Been one for almost 30 years. More than that, actually. Oh, sorry, that we can keep. Okay, we ready? Well, I didn't say when we went into closed session, but you've recorded that, I'm sure, Nora, right? Okay.
I would start out by reading that item.
We don't, all right, it's 9:49 a.m. We're coming out of closed session. We now move to agenda item 7, follow-up and administrative issues. Item A, consideration and possible action of the items discussed in closed session if needed. Bob, you have something for us?
I do. We have a proposed sale of about 8.2 acres of land at the industrial park. It's this area that's outlined in green. The company is a developer. NAI Wheelhouse is the name of the company. And we are looking at $65,000 per acre, a sale price of $65,000 per acre. At this time, I'd open it up to any board questions, or we can go for public comment.
So we need a motion and a second before we go to public comment, I think.
Yes.
Entertain motions regarding what Bob has presented.
So moved.
Second.
Okay,
Did you
motion by
want- you want-
Director Mantu, seconded by Director Mahaffey.
Would you like me to state the motion for the record?
Yes, please.
It would be a motion to approve the sale of 8.2 acres plus or minus of land at the industrial park to NAI Wheelhouse Industries. Sorry? Just NAI Wheelhouse, I'm sorry. At a sale price of $65,000 per acre, and authorizing the board president to negotiate and execute all related documents.
Okay.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Motion's been made and seconded. Do we have any public comment on this motion? Okay, hearing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Bob. Now we move to item 7B, announcement and consideration of future agenda items. Any future agenda items that the board would like to add?
Good.
Okay, and now item 8, adjournment. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion made by Director Mahaffey, seconded by Director Rodriguez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, and at 9:52 we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.